The reason you need to make a lot of money is not so that you can buy whatever you want. The reason you need to make a lot of money is so that you cannot be bought.
What is the most money you've ever made from a single video?
I have YouTube videos that have probably earned for sure 40 grand. And I bet if recent numbers would be around $50,000 from one YouTube video.
Have you ever put out a video that you truly regretted posting? Hi, it's Mel here from the Think Media team, and I am getting to interview Sean Cannell. We are going to be diving into all things today: money, moral conflicts, and of course, we're going to be looking at the true side of Sean Cannell that you don't know just from watching the podcast. So I've actually had the honor of knowing Sean for 5 years now, but I always say that small business years are like dog years. It feels much longer. We've been through a lot. And so I'm excited to be able to interview you today, Sean. Speaking of that, first question out the gate is, how is Sean in front of the camera different than just Sean like chilling on the couch on a Friday night?
That's a good question. And actually, in just a second, I want to hear your answer and give you permission to be fully unvarnished. I feel like, at least from a self-awareness perspective, that sometimes when I get on camera, I turn it on more. When I get on stage, I turn it on more energy, more humor. And that sometimes probably in person, I can be pretty toned down and super chill. Now, I think there's my personality that's super chill. I also think there's a kind of a somewhat sad or challenging part of this, which is I go so hard in my craft that I push myself to fatigue, so I can be also just generally tired. And so that's the results that maybe my family gets. If I'm even more nuanced about that, one of the interesting things about couples is they say men speak about 5,000 words a day. Women speak about 15,000. And a problem for couples is that if a man goes to work from 9 to 5, he's probably used up all of his words. And then when he gets home, if his partner or spouse is like, I feel like you don't have a ton of energy or a lot of engagement or whatnot, man, he's depleted. He only had 5,000 words. And I feel like I speak words for a living. So if we do web classes and meetings and processing issues and all of this stuff in a day, that sometimes between 9 to 5, when I get off work, there is again some fatigue that is set in, or just a depletion that is set in. That's a whole, I don't know, maybe help somebody listening to the podcast for their own marriage to think about how they could potentially, at least be thoughtful about that. So I am trying to think about, how can I turn it on, be really present for my wife, my kids, crank it up. So that's the thing that comes to mind. I do feel like I'm the same person, but there is something about, of course, on stage, you're going to be different than you are just at a party and a social event. You're going to be different on video. I do try to, I talk constantly on camera. In person, I feel like I try to listen more and just try to, and so I don't know, but I could be wrong too. I don't know what I don't know. You see me in both environments. What do you observe?
Well, I do think that you're absolutely right that we kind of call it customer service voice sometimes, right? Or it's like your camera voice. Of course, you're going to have more energy. That's actually your recommendation to people. We tell people that all the time. So of course, there's going to be those nuances, but I think there's a definite through line between you and your personal life, you at church, you at social events, and you on camera. You are a consistent person. Absolutely. We actually just recorded a whole other section of this interview together, and it really does feel just like we're talking to each other. The way, how you communicate with other people, the details that you share, obviously you're just very open and transparent. So every story you told, I never had a second of thinking, oh, it wasn't quite the way it was, or, oh, that's a little embellished. No, it is the same. It's just as if we were talking on Zoom on a random meeting during the day. So I think that is one thing I would want everybody to like be able to see is a little bit more of like Sean, like chill, like fun. Like you also get super goofy sometimes. And I don't
Yeah.
think people get to see that as much.
It'd be nice to get that on the podcast. We'll see.
Yeah. We'll see if we can get it. If you join us on a web class, one of our classes we do, that's where you get Sean a little more
and
goofy.
some challenges, especially after all those sessions. One of those Q&As just starts getting super random, super delirious. I love that environment.
Delirious Sean is by far the most fun Sean. But as far as your character and everything, that is absolutely consistent. And I love that people are going to get to see a little bit more of that, hopefully with these more in-depth questions throughout these videos. So the first question I want to get into, let's just dive right into money talk. So everybody wants to hears us talking about our monetization strategies in our web classes and videos. But what is the most money you've ever made from a single video?
So I want to say it's around $36,000. It might be higher than that, but that is how much Think Media made off what's called a content marathon. And I did a whole training about it. Now, where things get really interesting is there is like direct monetization and there's maybe indirect monetization, which you'd call like brand building. So what about the influence and the subscribers, and what if that led to other things? There's also the fact that over time at Think Media, we've built out multiple streams of income. So one video might make X number of dollars in ad revenue, but it also could produce X number of dollars based on affiliate link clicks. And then it also may promote an online course or a book, which also would generate sales. And we work really hard at Think Media to track, thanks to you, our chief marketing officer, who's a genius, and you've got an incredible team, including you and Jeffrey, who does paid advertising, as well as what's called Wicked Reports. It's a higher end software with crazy levels of tracking in terms of tracking when someone started their journey with you, discovered you, entered into your email list, when they maybe purchased something or whatever. We're using UTM codes and all of that stuff. And that's a high level of mastery and sophistication and attention to detail. So we can track things. However, I think there's no way to track if someone went to Amazon and bought YouTube Secrets because they saw it in like almost like quote unquote product placement or something, the book. I'm very obsessed with having integrity in numbers and integrity in everything in our business. So I like to identify what is trackable. Perhaps that's around the $36,000 for a video on ad revenue, but then there's the other ways of tracking it. The other example is that there's a class we do consistently that does track about $36,000 in affiliate revenue from that exact product SKU. It's a lighting kit. So I did a light review, kind of a tutorial of a particular light, a budget light kit for YouTube. That video has earned only $4,000 in ad revenue, but it has earned about $36,000 in affiliate marketing. And so there's another one that's around $40K. So I think as far as like a singular video in direct monetization terms, yes, I have YouTube videos that have probably earned for sure 40 grand. And I bet if recent numbers would be around $50,000 from one YouTube video.
It's wild. Have you ever had sticker shock of what somebody was willing to pay you for something you did on your channel?
Have I ever had sticker shock for something that somebody, like the amount of money they were willing to pay me for like coaching?
Yeah. Have you ever felt like somebody, like they should not be giving me this much money for what they're asking me for?
Well, I mean, these days, again, I'm a small town kid, college dropout, and I mean it sincerely when I say that as soon as I could go to Chipotle with my wife, Sonia, and get my burrito salad bowl and get double chicken and get the stir-fried veggies, and I put the hot sauce and the pico de gallo on there, and I get all the way down to the end of the line, and they say, would you like some guacamole? And I go, absolutely, I would. And they go, it's going to be $2.86. And I'm like, make it 2 scoops then, because those avocados are healthy. But like, legitimately, as soon as I became, if you will, price insensitive to guacamole, which, make no mistake, right? I'm incredibly empathetic. I was born in America, definitely middle class, lower middle class for a while. Family is incredibly entrepreneurial, but from maybe 6 to 14, I just remember our family was always worried about money. I remember some Christmas gifts, certain seasons when I remember my mom got me a peachy, like a folder, and I was like, I don't want to be like ungrateful, but as a child, I was like, this is like, school supplies like for Christmas. And so just having these different money memories and thinking about, growing up in that environment, by all means, I also was incredibly blessed, always fed, always lights on, always roof over my head. So like there's so many different circumstances around the world. But saying that, I am very empathetic to where you're out. Sonia and I got married at 21. You're trying to have a date night, but you're just stressed about money. You're like, maybe we shouldn't order an appetizer. Like maybe we should split. Red Robin was our plate. Not only did I work there for 10 years, but the move was Red Robin, California chicken burger, cut in half, bottomless fries. You just took one meal. Come on, split it 2 ways. People listening to this are like, oh, I know those secrets. Like I know how to maximize my dollars at a fast food restaurant or whatever. So there was no doubt about it when times were super short. So I guess growing up that way or whatever, and money being, I want to be self-aware. Obviously, money is important and something that I value and something that our family values and something that we're blessed where we are now. But I could say in full integrity that it's just not at the top of my list as a motivator. So once I didn't hesitate to order guacamole, from there, I feel like I've been living in house money. Like I feel like I've, as soon as we reached that escape velocity, I'm like Macaulay Culkin in the limo in New York with the giant pizza saying, this is the height of luxury in Home Alone. Like that is, anything that we're experiencing. So my answer to the question is these days at this exact moment, like a 1-hour coaching session with me is $4,000. And a day is like 24,000. It's not even a discount. It's like whatever 8 hours is. And we've had multiple people hire me either for a half day or a day or 1 hour. And that's still weird. It's also, I think, speaks to money mindsets and beliefs that we have to grow and evolve because now, and this, I know this, I'm aware this could rub some listeners the wrong way because it could sound entitled. I mean, it could sound however you want it. Do you think it is? It just is something that sometimes we can't relate to. And by the way, I'm with you. I think it's weird, just as weird as you think it is. But actually where it's really helpful is to have objective third parties like Jordan Perez, my executive assistant, guarding and protecting my time. Because one of the ways I think about the reason we charge those numbers is a supply and demand situation, is a calculation of company revenue and how much, as the CEO, I'm very aware it's a collective effort that builds that top line revenue. But nevertheless, if I'm at the helm, then that number is attributed to me. And so Dan Kennedy wrote in a book on the ruthless management of people and profits that you should write down how much your time is worth per hour. One exercise the listener could do is do that on what you wish your time was worth per hour, or stretch it so you grow into it. The other way to do it is just do the math off of like what your company is making net profit, factor it by 40 hours a week for 50 weeks a year. Some people would tell you to cut that down because there's no way you could be perfectly productive for that entire time. So they even say cut that number in half. Say what net profit is, calculate that according to the hour. Here's the bottom line. Those numbers are supply and demand numbers to do coaching. And so, yeah, I still think it's incredibly weird to get paid, $4,000 for an hour of my time. But what I also have to learn is that I still am tempted. You hear me. Oh yeah, I want to give free coaching. I want to, just book that on my calendar. I'd love to help that person. I would love to give. And there's a lot of that we do sometimes with churches and ministries, ministers on YouTube and different things where we're in a blessed position to give free coaching or to give consulting in certain situations or a discount. But anyways, I'm still sticker shocked by kind of all of the above. I think that's a good thing. I want to stay humble and grounded. I think there's also a tension where I have to elevate my thinking and my mindset. And this was maybe the point I was trying to make, because yes, the money is Sonia and I's as the co-founder of the company, that we could technically do whatever we want. Speaking of like net profit of company revenue. But the way I view it is it's ultimately God's money. And I ultimately view it as God's company. And so I try to have a stewardship perspective. Therefore, we're not solving for how much money can we take out of the company and just try to like spend in this or that way. We're trying to solve for how do we further the mission, further the purpose? How do we grow? How do we be faithful? How do we be smart like Joseph in 7 years of abundance to prepare for 7 years of famine? So I don't want to have sticker shock. Maybe that's the point. I want to I want to stay humble, but elevate my mindset and my perspective to the level of value that we're producing to the marketplace, because I think it's also upward from here. And that is a personal growth conversation, a mindset development conversation, a money mindset and beliefs evolution that I think is super important. And that's been part of the journey that I'm on.
Hey, in just a second, we're going to get back into the episode. But if you haven't heard, for a limited time, you can get on-demand access to my YouTube strategy class entirely for free at thinkmasterclass.com. On the class, you're going to learn the one strategy that we use at Think Media that is currently generating over 300,000 views every single day. If you are new to YouTube, this is going to help you start right and avoid mistakes. And if you're already a pro, this is going to help you multiply your growth. And the cool thing is the class is 100% free and you can watch it instantly on demand. All you got to do is go to thinkmasterclass.com or just click the link in the show notes to get instant access. All right, let's jump back into the episode.
Have you ever faced a situation with a lucrative brand opportunity or business opportunity that conflicted with your personal moral boundaries?
One time, and this was, early on with coaching, when my coaching was more affordable and you could just hire me for one-on-one coaching for an hour or two, I was also trying to set up filtering systems. And this is when you don't necessarily have a lot of staff. At one point, now the director of our Think Media channel, Kyle Anderson, who's like the executive producer over the entire channel. We're in Anderson Studios right now. Absolute legend, running a team of like 7, 8, 9, 10 people. All-time creative. Like, we're just thinking about like this very studio, which he designed. He's an artist. He's a creative. I mean, he's got vinyl records playing behind us on breaks. Like, you could tell he's a real hipster. So ultimately, when he started Think Media, he was our administrative customer service representative, which number one is not a skill set, but number two, it's not a skill set. And also it's funny because, and I just remember too, I was like, bro, you got skills. And I think he's working at a warehouse folding clothes or something at the time. I was like, I don't know what it is, but you got to come to think and help us build. And again, and grateful, because that's part of the journey. It like started messy, started in one area, and he's probably worn like every hat in every department. Well, what's the point? The point is that our admin, our systems, our filtration systems over the years haven't been the best. And for example, I remember I did coaching with this one person who was he was kind of like in pickup artist and seduction type of things, it was kind of like polygamy. It was kind of like, how do you like essentially trick multiple women to date you and marry you and have control over women and sex and all kinds of stuff. So I was like, this was a dark dude. And it was actually like his assistant or something. And I mean, I found myself in that moment. This is one of those moments as a Christian business owner, thinking through things where I'm like, okay, this person hired me for coaching. I'm in it now. They're like, here's my channel. I'm opening up the channel. And I'm like, oh, here we are. But I'm thinking, and in hindsight's 2020, I don't know, what should I have done? Canceled it, been like, you know what? Let's refund your money in that moment. And so all I did was I followed through on the coaching session and then passed it along to whoever was helping us with admin. It was like, we need a better filtration system, because that is not something I can endorse or get behind. There's one thing about giving free content away that anybody can watch. And I think for the Christian, I think that is okay. I mean, consider that the Bible is freely readable by everybody and people have manipulated or twisted it. So there's something about giving good information, putting it out in the world. There's a whole nother thing about accepting clientele that is not even a gray area, but is absolutely counter to your belief system and your values. So that was one I remember that I wouldn't do again. And we've done our best to try to be thoughtful. And I also think one of the reasons I heard my friend Neil Dingra say this, he tweeted on Threads, which was a weird statement because he actually threaded on Threads and it's not Twitter anymore. And so as I digress, and he said, the reason you need to make a lot of money is not so that you can buy whatever you want. The reason you need to make a lot of money is so that you cannot be bought. Woo! Come on, Neil. And so early on, when we're fighting for survival, the temptation could be to, if you will, take whatever coaching client or do whatever. What is nice is being at a place where you can refuse business. Now, I would argue for anybody at any level, you can refuse business at any level. And I would go, you could go like the optimistic, kind of like charismatic Christian perspective that would say, and God will bless you. If you turn down business for your integrity and your ethics, you're going to be blessed double as a result. Yeah, maybe. Or you might just be persecuted even more and your business could fail. Like, I mean, ultimately, but the challenge is, are you going to stand hard and fast on your conviction? That's a big one that I would lean on. And then, I mean, another one to unpack, which is I think is a good moral conflict that we've talked deeply about in our company, as we've tried to develop brand deals and a brand deals team that is focused on sales, meaning get a brand deal that'll pay us money because that's how we pay the bills, which is all great and ethical because that is business-wise important. But then you also have the creator, which as we've grown, is Nolan and Omar and others that have been the ones actually creating the content. But then you also have what should be supersede all, which would be your values and beliefs and convictions of what brands are you endorsing, but also would be an absolute commitment to integrity, truth, and giving the best answers, results, software, and tools to the end user. So of course, I might have an opinion and I could be right or wrong, and so people can watch or follow my opinion about a camera. Of course, there's many nuances in the middle, but true integrity, I think, looks like, being true to yourself, endorsing things you only believe in, and then serving the end user most of all. Always trying to think about what's in the audience's best interest, and only getting behind products that you believe for them. There's been some of the conflict we've had, which I would argue I have tried to be, or I think I have been hard and fast on this. And we've had some internal conflict. We've had some staff transitions since then. Not that was like the whole issue, but that was some of the debates that would come up around the brand deal table, if you will, is I would just be like, okay, that's cool. They want to give us money, but that's not software we believe in. Well, that's cool. They want to give us money, but that's like not what we're actually using. We then started to learn and make a scoring system where it's one thing to do an ad read versus a dedicated video. It's one thing where are you fully endorsing it. But I think that these kinds of things are very important. We did a couple episodes on the podcast a while back about Bible verses every content creator should know. And the Bible is really clear about this. And I think being trustworthy, having integrity. And then there was one big one where at a really macro software in the creator economy, there's two big competitors, and one has tried to work with us. And who knows, maybe someday we'll work with. Our ethic has always been, I've always talked to Kyle and Nolan and Omar. I've sat down and I've said, listen, things can change. Software could change. There could be improvements. There could be updates. Things could change. We need to always do our due diligence and our research to ask, what is the best solution? What is the best software? And there's no blanket answer like that. What is the best software for beginners, or the best budget software, or all things considered, if this is the intent? We try to pride ourselves on really getting that information. I used a recent AI software. Maybe I went above and beyond. Maybe it's just my personality. I had to use it for like an entire day before I could make the video. I didn't want to just shallowly describe what it was. I wanted to really get a feel for it, knowing what it is, so I can make an accurate video, truly representing it before I promoted it. So I think that this has been a continuous thing that we wrestle with, but I hope that we're landing on the side of integrity. And I want to always never want to go for short-term money over the long-term brand, and ultimately serving the end user with as much integrity and trustworthiness as we can.
Have you ever put out a video that you truly regretted posting?
Have I ever put out a video I truly regretted posting? This video probably is still out. It's kind of funny, and it's about the human charger. Evan, who's to intern for us, this story like he loves it. He just thinks it's hilarious because this was in the era when there was a company called FameBit, which was a marketplace for brand deals. So you signed up, you connected your channel, and then it just allowed you to scan a page, lifestyle, tech, electronic, pets, scan a page, find deals you could be interested in, and then fill it out. Name, channel, and it would tell you right up front, we'll pay you $300, $500, $1,000 if you get accepted. So you could apply for like 5 or 10 of these and maybe you'd get 2 or 3. And then once you're approved, I guess I didn't already have the product. So once you're approved, you're now, the train has left the station. Like you're approved and contractually kind of doing this brand deal at that point. So, okay. So I find this thing called the human charger. I think that since then it's gone out of business. It looked like a little iPod and had a little circle on it. And what it did is it had 2 little things that look like earbuds, like Apple, wired in-ears. But what they were was just these cables that led up to the earbuds, which actually projected light into your brain. So the human charger was a device designed to help you overcome jet lag. And because apparently your ear cavities can see the light and that actually your circadian rhythms do operate by going out. They say go outside in the morning, get the sunlight in your actual eyes, not your ears. So I saw this thing and they had some like science and some articles about it or some whatever. And I kind of was like, all right, I signed up. They approved me. I did go on a trip because like I said, I very valued actually case studying and field testing the product. So I went with my friend, John Mediana, we got hired on a freelance video project in Sandton, South Africa. Flew to London, flew to South Africa, brought my human charger with me. I was using it multiple times along the way. And here's the thing. It might have been a placebo effect. I'm open-minded. My ears are open to the light, and it might have been a placebo effect. It might have been total pseudoscience. By the way, the video was still public. Like I feel okay enough about it. And I'm already like, this was me being true to me. I am a psycho biohacker. I do a lot of weird pills and suppositories and potions and red light therapy and all kinds of stuff. My wife makes fun of me for it. You are worried about my kidneys. I was like, I think it's really painful when I pee, but there's like no blood. I did take like an excessive amount of supplements yesterday. And you're like, that's really hard on your kidneys. And so I'm already like a human charger type of a person. Like I would be that guy. So anyways, I made a video. I described what it was. I described the articles that they had and I described my experience. I was like, this was a grueling trip. And when we got off, I did it. I'm landing it. And that's the thing. You don't have access to light like that. Supposedly that is vitamin D or whatever wavelength when it's the middle of the night and you're jet lagged. So your human charger is there for you to inject your ears with light at any time you want. So I put the video out. Man, the comments are like, sure. This is the ultimate snake oil for the snake oil salesman. Like, what are you talking about? And then various debate. I mean, probably some smart people would be like, there is zero scientific. I mean, this product sure went through a lot. It went all the way. It was an actual product. I don't know if they're still out there. Who knows? Maybe the founders will see this video. I'm still neutral on it, but all I know is that, and the difference between making that video or not making that video should not be at like the top of the list of like even the 100 priority videos I should cover. I think an interesting principle is we encourage people on topic all the time. Like, sure, you could do this or that topic, but are you actually making videos about the best topics? So what are the top 10 videos I should cover, the top 20, the top 30, maybe even the top 250 videos I should make next? Human charger, by the way, I think it's on Think Media. What is that even? I mean, it's like I sometimes veered a little bit. It's not a camera. It's not tech related. It was tech, but it's like, hey, for the traveling content creator, maybe you want to inject light into your ears. So I could have probably passed on that one. And it speaks to, early on, lobbing out 10 FameBit applications, getting approved for it. And then in hindsight, thinking back and being, okay, let me be more selective, more thoughtful, and hopefully build more authority and brand and the opportunity to be selective of brand deals. That's a whole nother side note is personal opinion. At Think Media, we help people with brand deals. We help people with Patreon. We help people with channel memberships. There's so many different things. But my personal opinion, I didn't just want to create an online course because I really believe in the methodology of online courses changed my life. They help me learn things, help me build wealth, help me build a business. I continue to invest in education products. So I believed in the product itself as an actual user. But the other reason I wanted to create a product, whether it's an online course or something else, is to be free from situations like that. That was one of the situations, just to be at a place, don't make so much money so you can buy whatever you want, make enough money so you can't be bought, so that actually you can turn down brand deals, turn down coaching. And by creating a product of your own that you can sell and creating enough margin and, if you will, wealth, you create enough protection that, yes, then when you engage in brand deals, and I feel like that's where we are now. They are a big part of our business. We are investing a lot in them, but we want to be stable enough that that's not the only thing we're relying on, so that ultimately we could be bought. Because like, oh my gosh, if we don't get a deal this month and there's only one deal to choose from, then we're not gonna be able to make payroll. All right, I guess it's the human charger. It's kind of a gray area. Maybe it's really clear to some people, but like being able to turn down different deals. So that's one of them. It's kind of a funny story. And the jury is still out. We'll see about comments on this video version of this. Any scientists know, can you actually inject light into your ears to counteract jet lag?
Let us know in the comments.
Let us know.
I need to know. Well, Sean, I have so many more questions I'd love to ask you, but we're going to wrap up this interview for today. If you want to see more content like this, then make sure you like, subscribe, share this video out with people who would also enjoy watching it. And you can actually join Sean and I on a web class tonight. It's just a free class that we do to teach YouTube strategy. And that's where you're going to really get to go a lot deeper in YouTube strategy than we get to do in even these videos. And so we'd love to see you on that class tonight, or wherever you are in your time zone. You can just head to the link that's in the description right now, thinkmasterclass.com, and see us over on that class so we can hang out, and maybe we'll get delirious Sean on that web class and you'll get to actually get to laugh with us as well. We'll see you over there.